You know that polling places are open in Erie County and across the state. Today is the presidential primary, even though Democratic incumbent President Joe Biden and Republican candidate Donald Trump clinched the delegate count for their nominations weeks ago. As 2 on Your Side's Ron Plants reports, casting a vote is important, but there's a cost.
Obviously very quiet at polling places today in Erie County, but some folks did make sure to vote.
It's our right to vote. You know, our ancestors fought so hard for us to vote.
If I don't put my vote in, he's not counted. It's not counted. I always want my voice to be counted, no matter what happens in this world. I want to be known that I spoke up for myself anyway.
It's important for nearly 16,000 in Erie County who voted so far today, in the early voting last week and on weekends before Easter, as well as absentee ballots. But realistically, it's about 3% of eligible voters, and the early locked-up presidential nominations with New York State's later positioned primary may keep most of the polling places quiet until November for the presidential race, and it is a costly process for taxpayers.
We estimate that this primary is going to cost $850,000 for just Erie County alone. Then when you multiply that across all the counties of the state.
So easily millions for New York State as a whole for what seems to be a meaningless exercise of public will at this point, even as the democratic process is important. 3 other states, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Wisconsin, also holding presidential primaries today, some with other ballot questions. But interesting that President Biden's home state of Delaware actually canceled their primary election as the outcome was predetermined. Could that ever happen with taxpayer savings here in New York State, where state lawmakers would have to do so? Moore feels maybe.
Now, it really is a meaningless effort, except it just shows a presidential preference of voters in New York State. There should be a mechanism that the state legislature puts together which allows us not to run the full-blown primary with the costs that are associated with it.
Obviously, the legislature would have to cancel it, but the legislature is in session now, and you would think if there was a will, there would be a way to do it. But remember, this is New York State. This is a state that has elevated wasteful public spending to an art form.
Okay, well, a complicating factor is those absentee ballots. They have to be mailed out 45 days before an election. And again, technically, there was still a race before Nikki Haley pulled out of the GOP presidential nomination process on March 6th. So again, while democracy is important, it costs dollars for any election, even if there's no real contest there. On Your Side, Ron Plants, Channel 2 News.